Chapter 10, Current Issue and Challenges in Commodity Crop. Explain, what do you understand about current issue in Malaysia?
Current issue in Malaysia commodity crop is first, scarcity of available land. In agricultural sector, they sector compete with other sector for land when move toward industrialization, urbanization, and housing project. And beside that, Peninsular Malaysia also have a largely utilized in the cultivation of industry crop such as rubber and oil palm. And the second one is deforestation and oil palm expansion. This relate to conversion of forest area to alternative such as agricultural, urbanization, and other. And the third one is shortage domestic agricultural labor. In agricultural sector, the worker in Malaysia are low. This is because the immigrant is so high. It because to the slow adoption of mechanization in certain production processes, especially for harvesting. And the fourth one is food fuel dilemma. In Malaysia, there's so many supply of oil palm, and thus the country has a comparative advantage using palm oil as a renewable feedstock for the production of environment friendlier biodiesel. And the fifth one is oil palm trade policy. In export tax in 2015, CPO product by the Malaysia encourage the domestic downstream and the process of oil palm product, while encouraging the export of the crude palm oil. The last but not least is incentive use of agrochemical. In Malaysia, farming sector still dependent on using agrochemical, including chemical fertilizer and pesticide that lead to increasing environment damage, such as aquatic biodiversity and food safety issue. Explain the current issue of Malaysia commodity crop.
Malaysia agriculture and rural environmental resource are symbiosis having the direct implication agriculture sustainable and the viability rural area. There are several of the current issue in the community crop, which is scarcity of the available land, food fuel dilemma, deforestation and the oil palm expand, the shortage of the domestic labor, and lastly is the oil palm. For the I will be explain the first one. The first one is scarcity of available land, which is the agriculture sector compete with the other other sector for land when the economy move into the industrialization, urbanization, and houses project. From the we know the Malaysia have been largest utilizes for the cultivation of industry crop, which is like such like rubber, rubber and oil palm. The oil palm cultivation expand so much, which is this is will be declined to the other community crop such like coconut, cocoa, and rubber. Because of the expansion of oil palm cultivation, this will be lead to the deforestation. There are several factors that influence to the scarcity of land. The first one is deforestation, soil quality, population growth, and lastly is urbanization. The next one is the deforestation and the oil palm expand. This relate to the conversion of forests used to alternative uses, agriculture, such like agriculture, urbanization, and other. This is decline in a forest area was largely due to the oil palm expansions in the Malaysia that have with the that take with that been used for the both in a forest area and shift in pre-executive crop. This also with lead to the logging timber. If the oil palm expand, this is might be might possess direct pressure on forest resources, and this will be implication to the biodiversity and microclimate storage will be effect in the future. Then the next one is the storage of domestic agriculture sector. Shortage of farm labor leading to the high employment of the immigrant worker in agriculture sector due to the disparity to show adoption of mechanization in certain production process, especially harvesting. The local might not be interesting to the agriculture sector, which is more lead to the foreign workers to work in the Malaysia. The next one is the food field dilemma, which is, as we know, our country have been produced more to the oil palm, and this give advantage to our country to cooperative in the cooperative what is this cooperative renewable for the environmental and biodiversity biodiesel biodies what is this friendly biodiesel. The biodiesel is which is the fossil fuel mixed with other processing oil palm or crude palm oil. This is for the example is like we can make like cooking oil, margarine, and so on in a food production. The next one is the oil palm trade policy, which is this is more to the tax. Government have been said the introduction of the tax in export tax in 2015 on CPO product by the Malaysia encouraged the domestic downstream processing of the oil palm products, while it also discouraging the export of the crude palm oil. In 2012, Indonesia have been export the new different tariff of taxes in the export the palm oil, which is this will be may effect to our country too, our maybe in fact in Malaysia downstream industry as well as the export too. Last but not least is the extensive use of the agrochemical. The Malaysia farming sector is still depend on the agrochemicals such like fertilizer, pesticide, that will be lead to the increasing environment damage, like for the example is aquatic biodiversity, and this and the food safety issue. This is because of the the chemical that been using for the being using for the agriculture, like pesticide and fertilizer, have been leaching to the river. Use of the pesticide also have been increased, and related issue is the rising concern of the hazard is discovered.
Explain me about challenges of Malaysia commodity crop.
Okay, there are several challenges of Malaysia commodity crop, which is first one is the technology, consumerism, environment, and lastly is the price. The first one is the technology. Difficult to development or adopt the technology because of the lacks of the capital. And this also what is this? A slow rate of the technology development and the innovation contribute in low growth rate of the agriculture sector as compared to the other sector. The next one is the environmental, which is the agriculture cause the excessive application in the fertilizer, like being using more like fertilization application in fertilization, pesticide can lack the effective system sewage water recycling process, which is required established plan and animal genetic bank preserving the biodiversity multiplication on the endangered species. Then the third one is the consumerized, which this is a consumer concern to the food safety. For the food safety issue, the changing of consumer tastes in the environmental friendly goods or pesticide free will be open the door for the organic farming or organic farming culture with the technique of the production. The consumer expectation on high quality product, more competitive. There is a need to be efficient with the high productivity and minimal cost. Last but not least is the price, which is this is more to the supply and demand.